Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome into the AOE with AT. Attitude over everything. Former Husker football national champion, speaker, and author, Aaron Davis. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yeah. Folks, it is another Wednesday night. It is the AOE Attitude Over Everything podcast. I got my man Harrison in the house. Harrison, what's going on, my man?
It's good in here, man. It's hot as hell outside, but inside the AC, I'm doing all right.
Hey, well, I'm gonna tell you, homeboy, it ain't much cooler down here in Auburn, Alabama, where I'm at right now, man. It is hot.
Oh yeah, I feel it. It's gonna be like that for a while, so I'll try not to complain too much about it.
Harrison, I think before we introduce my guest tonight, man, I just wanted to wrap with you for a little bit too, and I'm going to include Rudy on this in a little bit. Man, when I flew into Atlanta, and had about a hour and 30-minute drive here to Auburn, Alabama. Bro, there was literally steam in the parking lot at the airport just from the humidity. I'm thinking, man, this is ridiculous, man. So, folks, thank you for tuning in with us again tonight. The station, our teammates, the whole probably 5% of the crew is down there. It's over. I should say up there in Indianapolis. I was bummed that I couldn't make it this year. I told DP I would have loved to get out there, but these have been booked for a while. I'm in Auburn, Alabama, speaking today. I'll speak there tomorrow. Then I'll hop a plane. I'll drive back to Atlanta, get on the airplane, and fly to Pensacola, Florida, where it's going to be hotter. So I'm going from hot to hot. But we had a big shout out to the crew there. They did a heck of a job. Rick Neuheisel, they had on there Kirk Ferentz. They had on there, man. They had Harrison on there from where is he from? I forget what station he's with, who's affiliated with Harrison. But they had a number of guys they had on the interview today, man. So as I was traveling, I got to tune into some of it. As I was driving here to Auburn, I got to tune in some more. Harrison, what's your view so far? And Rudy, first, before I go any further, folks, I want to introduce my guest, my good friend, Rudy Perez, the founder of Just Vantage, and also a major cleaning company, which we'll talk about as well. And I call him RP, but it's Rudy Perez. RP, what's happening? How you doing tonight, my man?
How's it going, AD? I'm amazing. I mean, out of all places I could be and the people I'm with, I'm here with you. And I can't do anything more. I'm very, very grateful.
Hey, you know it, man. Harrison, today it comes out again. First of all, Harrison, how much have you got to listen to of the overall interviews today?
For Big Ten Media, I've been plugged in pretty much all day with the ticket, anyways. The ticket's content.
Absolutely, they've had some great interviews, some great insight from a lot of people. Something that came out, and obviously we don't know like I said again, we don't know the which obviously it's all alleged right now. But a report came out a couple hours ago about PJ Fleck, the head coach at Minnesota, from some former players of some potential hazing that was going on in their locker room. Nothing of the content nature that was going on. Allegedly, it's gone on at Northwestern. But it's like, man, the dude takes the microphone tomorrow. Harrison, man, what is going on in some of these locker rooms? And again, I want to say this. We don't know what's true and what's not true at Northwestern, nor do we know any validity what's going on or allegedly what happened at Minnesota. But Harris, when you saw that come out, what was your thoughts when you seen that come out, knowing that Coach Fleck is going to be with our guys most likely tomorrow at some time, whether he decides to honor that commitment or not, because Jake did a great job of checking with their SID to have at least 5 minutes with him. What is this? What's the landscape of this right now for Minnesota?
Yeah, so the first thing that came out with Minnesota, first thing I need more information, because
Exactly.
you just heard Colt, and right then and there you're like, okay, let's actually put something together before we start using terms like Colt. But they gave some pages on what they're saying, kind of somewhat those allegations are, and what PJ Fleck's teaching. It was nothing crazy. It's a lot of acronyms. It's kind of like extra schoolwork that they had to do.
Right.
Stuff like being in the classroom. I almost kind of felt weird about it because I want to see more, because obviously there's a lot of players that did speak to the truth of it, but all of the things that PJ Fleck, in terms of getting those guys to do, I honestly, outside of like teaching them all the extra acronyms and everything, like the school stuff, it didn't really bother me too much. I'm like, he's expecting you to be good classmates. He's asking more of you, yes, but I'd imagine he gives you that pitch before you decide to sign on to Minnesota football. So I mean, for me, the biggest thing is if that's what you're signing on to, and he's going to require more than your everyday athlete, that's the guy you're signing with. So I'm at a point where I don't want to cast too much judgment yet. I think the word Colt behavior is pretty strong based on everything I was reading. I didn't get any of that where it's over the top. So, it's interesting. For PJ Fleck, that's our first game walking in there. And, it's kind of crazy. Northwestern's had their scandal. Now you have Minnesota. And so far, Nebraska's biggest scandal was breakfast. And it's like, I don't know if I'm going viral, but I feel pretty blessed. That's our biggest scandal right now. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy heading into the season. All this is coming out. But, that's where I'm at with the DD. I'm curious where you are, but I don't want to jump to any conclusions. I think the word Colt that's flying around is a little strong.
Harrison, that's a great synopsis on your part. Colt's a strong word. I think everything is premature right now. It's a hot issue. So anything, even if there's even just a hint of anything, even whatever you define as a regular being, people are going to hop on that. I think that's one thing we do a great job at the ticket is we want to hear all the facts. We're going to report what's been heard, of course, but before passing judgment on anything, you got to have something in concrete. You got to have some legitimate evidence that's there. Before you start pouncing on people. I think and Strickland mentioned this yesterday. Unfortunately, the media is very quick to pounce on something without having all the facts. And then when things get clarified and the dust settles, they're very slow to come back and put retractions out there, which I think is wrong because these are people's reputations, their livelihoods that are at stake, et cetera. From the things that were alleged said, like I said, there's a lot of things that were said about, what's allegedly happened in that locker room. For instance, they said the Fleck pot or something like that, to where
Fleck bank is what they call it.
The Fleck bank. If you had enough deposits in there, certain violations would be overlooked, which I'm not going to get into because it's all alleged right now. So I'm not going to throw anything out there that we don't know if it's true or not true. But man, that's the last thing I'm sure that he wanted to deal with 24 hours before he faces the microphones and the cameras tomorrow. And if I'm his SID, their sports information director, I'm going to let people know right away. We're not going to comment on this right now because it's ongoing. Just like Northwestern coach, Coach Braun, it's an ongoing investigation. I can't comment on that right now, and I don't even know if this has reached the investigation stage of what they're going to do with it, because the AD came out pretty clear and just simply said, "Hey, there's no merit to this. There's no truth to this." So who knows? But if I'm Fleck, I'm probably not addressing them. Like, hey, if you want to talk about the 23-24 season, I'm all for it. all the innuendos, etc. I'm not going to address those because there's nothing to it. So that's what I would go with there. Either say there's nothing to it, or those things are still being investigated, so I can't speak on an open investigation. Just like if you were outside of athletics, whether you're a company or an institution, which they are, but I wouldn't go down the rabbit hole if I didn't have to, man. I just wouldn't.
Yeah, it's pretty convoluted, and like you said there too, the biggest thing for PJ Fleck, it's going to be the drug test. If any of that part's true, that's going to be the stickler. The AD said that he has not heard anything about it, and they are very strict. All those rules apply across the board for athletics. So that, to me, that's the biggest thing in there that you mentioned. That I just quick wanted to mention. I think that's the thing where if he's going to get in trouble, that's the flag. That's
going to be the flag. Yeah, the other stuff, the acronyms. I mean, heck, before we played games, we said HSUSK, Arsenal, Huskers, or Nebraska. But no, folks, enough of that. Folks, again, I'm so excited for tonight's show, and this is not going to be a one-time appearance for sure. I've known Rudy Perez's family for a long time when they first got to Nebraska. Rudy, first of all, Perez, how you doing tonight, RP?
I'm amazing. I'm just truly blessed. I mean, that's the best word I can give you is just blessed.
Well, I tell you what, your lighting is blessed too. I mean, you look like an angel, like an angel glowing in your camera. I
got two big windows here to my right. I got a light setting up right here to my left, and yeah,
I like it. Well, I kind of made a makeshift studio in here, Harrison RP. I mean, I got the hotel window out that way, so I might move this desk back later on. But there's only so much you can makeshift. Bring a few bring a few of the lamps or something over. Room service, like, what the hell was this guy doing the night before? We got a shit. What he got like a studio in this thing, man.
yeah. No, it doesn't look bad at all, though.
I love it, man. Rudy, man. First, again, it's a pleasure to have you here, brother. Tell it. Okay, Rudy, who is Rudy Perez? Like right now, how old are you? Where you living at? What are you doing right now? Before I dive into the background, tell us about yourself.
Right now, the point that I'm at right now, I just turned 30 May 1st, so entering into the dirty 30s.
Dirty 30s.
I'm on year 4 of my business that I started. It's called Sanitize 360. We service, commercial buildings from hospitals to factory warehouses to government businesses and facilities. And I'm also in the process of starting up my new brand, Vantage, a mindset company. To just kind of share all the wisdom, all the knowledge, all the experiences, all the truths that I've accumulated up to this point. My main goal is to just give back, and if I could help one person doing that, that's the goal. Or the goal is higher, but one person, means a lot.
Rudy, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Stockton, California.
Stockton.
Yeah, Northern California, right by Sacramento Bay Area. Yep.
Sacktown. Yep. So it was a long way from Beverly Hills, right, my man?
Oh yeah. For us out there, it was like a 7-hour drive, so that's a completely different lifestyle out there. Yeah, you got Northern Cali and Southern Cali.
Yeah. And I've been to both quite a few. I do a lot of business up in North and just California in general. But just obviously just the landscape is different. The water is definitely different in Northern Cal than it is in Southern Cal. Tell us about growing up in Stockton, though, man. What was that like, growing up in Stockton?
Oh man, that was an experience. It's definitely helped shape who I am today. And I tell everybody I'm extremely proud of the man that I've become. But there was a lot of difficulty growing up in Stockton, California. For one, it's a lot of crime, a lot of violence that happens. And at a young age, when we're coming in, we're not really understanding life. We're still just experiencing and learning on the go. And a lot of times you don't really understand the influences that are around you.
Right.
So the temptation is different. Like I said, the influence, the people around you is different. The environment itself and the energy itself is different. And, not being aware of that, I spent a lot of my younger years just in the trial and error phase, sometimes getting into trouble, a bunch of my buddies getting into trouble, just learning the hard way, didn't have much guidance. But like I said, without all of that, it wouldn't have shaped me into who I am right now, sitting here with you in this moment.
Absolutely. Rudy, mom and dad, you grew up, how many siblings? And where do you fit in at?
I'm the oldest of 5 boys.
Good gosh.
Yeah. We stay busy, yeah. And on
Oh
top
man,
of
God
that,
bless your mom.
yeah, they went 3 back to back, so I'm 30, the one under me is 28, turning 29 in October. The one under him would be 27 at this point.
5 kids, all boys.
All boys. Yeah.
So when did you guys make the move from Stockton to Nebraska, and why?
That was back in 2013, and I had gotten a scholarship to co-play baseball out at York College down the road. Like I said, being that we were in a town of high crime and violence and bad environment, my parents found it wise to make the decision to uproot our entire family out here. At the time, Lincoln, Nebraska was one of the top 10 cities to raise a family. And we felt like God was presenting us with the best opportunity to kind of reshape our entire family.
Absolutely. Okay, so you moved here in 2013, but I'm gonna go back a little bit more though. What was your sport of love growing up, and what all sports did you participate in?
Mainly just baseball. I played a year YMCA basketball. Wasn't too good. I mean, I'm athletic enough to hang and be average, but just wasn't my thing. And then I started to play football for a year, but at the time we were just more focused on baseball and didn't want to have any more risks, than necessary. So I just stuck to baseball my whole life. And out there in California, the weather is completely different, So in baseball year round, we don't have seasons, and so it's just easier to stay focused on one lane.
How did you gravitate towards playing pitcher?
Pitcher? I'd say my mom's dad, so my grandfather, he's passed away at this point already, but growing up, that was his position, and he was very passionate about it. And just growing up, I remember him taking me out for lessons, him teaching me pitching. My dad would be there, catching every ball that I threw. And yeah, that was the one position we really hammered in, and it ended up being my strongest position. I love taking the mound.
So at first, when you were saying your mom, I thought you said it's your mom's father. I thought you said your mom taught you to play pitch. Like, hey, man, your mom had a mean fast arm, man.
Hey, I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest. She probably got something in there.
I was gonna say 5 boys, man. She had to be quick with them hands too.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, we won't go into it, but yeah, my mom, she got hands.
She got hands.
She has to,
So, and like you mentioned, Rudy, I've spoken out in the California area quite a bit, and baseball is no joke out there because, like you said, it's something they can do year round. Florida being one of those other places, Texas here and there, but Florida and California, which they can play all year long. What was the competition for you like, and what was the mindset? Because think about it, man. Where you came from, there was a lot of, because you went through a few different high schools. So, what was the first high school, and what was the first high school you went to? And when did it hit Rudy that you said, you know what? I'm a pretty good baseball player. When did that first click for you? Maybe it wasn't in high school either, but when did that click for you at the high school level? You were like, the attitude that kicked in, it was like, yeah, I can kind of throw this thing a little bit. When was that point for you? And tell me about your high school playing experience.
Yeah, so I mean, from early on, from a young age, I had always had the highest of expectations for myself. And if it wasn't me giving it to myself, it was more so my father. You hear a lot of the stories between athletes that say, you got your dad out there making you practice in the rain, pretty much. And it was tough at times. There's times I absolutely hated it and I didn't want anything to do with it. But like I said, I'm so appreciative for every experience that I faced because, to this day, I have that same voice. I've just been able to make it a voice that works for me better. So early on, I understood that I had something in me. I mean, I didn't have a choice, but when I get up to the high school age, I kind of ruined my high school years. I started out at Stagg High School. It's down in Stockton, California. I was doing very well. All my friends, the school district that I grew up in elementary school led into this high school, but it was just one of the harsher high schools. In town. And so we were focused on baseball. And so my father uprooted me to move to Lincoln High School, which is ironic that I ended up, moving to Lincoln, Nebraska, but I ended up playing for Lincoln High School in Stockton, California. And I didn't get to play until my sophomore year because, like I said, experiences. But I didn't take grades and I didn't take school seriously. I kind of just gave up at a point. I wasn't happy about switching high schools. And so I kind of rebelled and set myself back a little bit. But coming into junior and senior year, specifically for high school, is when, that dominance came in.
And you know what, Rudy, man, you retaliated basically in the classrooms. Like, I didn't want to move school, so I'm just not going to do anything. Attitude took a plunge at that point. You had, and then you had to pay some consequences as a result of that attitude plunging. But that's a hard time to move is in high school.
Yeah,
it's hard to move anytime I can imagine. But I remember the only school I had to move to, and I still remember how it impacted me all these years later. In second grade, now this is going to sound crazy. In second grade, I made a move there in Lincoln, Nebraska. We started going. I started going to from Claire McPhee School, which is by the Capitol, and I started going to Clinton Elementary School, which was closer to our neighborhood. And I remember how devastated I was in second grade. In second grade, man, you got a short memory.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a sophomore in high school in moving though. I mean, to where those cliques already got those cliques have been formed for about 7, 8, 9 years already. They went to the same junior high, elementary, etc. So I can't imagine how tough that would have been for you to move at that point. What clicked for you when you made the change in attitude to say, okay, look, it is what it is. I tried to rebel in the classroom. Mucked my grades all up, so I got to do some things different because you keep messing up the grades and mucking up the grades, you can't play. I mean, it's whether your parents agree to it or not, there's certain rules and regulations to where you not make you eligible. When did that switch click for you? Said, you know what? I'm done feeling sorry for myself. I'm going to make this change and make the best out of it. What was that? Was there a series of events? Was it one incident? What made that click for you in your attitude?
What's coming up to the surface right now is I'd say finishing up freshman year. That's when I started to plummet on my grades, and I was not allowed to play freshman year. I was allowed to practice, but I wasn't allowed to play. Imagine, going out blood, sweat, and tears every day, but even when being one of the better players, you just still couldn't play. There's nothing you could do. And I'm just not one of those people that likes feeling helpless in any type of situation. And so I got to reflect after that year and said, hey, cut it out. Like, no more. This is what you love. You came here for baseball. You're only hurting yourself.
And knowing that it was self-inflicted in something, it'd be different if you got injured, or something of that nature. But to know it was self-inflicted, had to add a little salt in the wound too. You finally said enough's enough. So when did you start then in baseball in high school? Like, when did you become the starting pitcher?
Since I stepped on the field, I mean, I had come up through Little League, being one of the dominant pitchers, so I had already made a name for myself up to that point. But, man, even from high school all the way through college was difficult. I was starting center field, second baseman, and pitcher. I played all the depths of the field, and just had that dog mentality, put me somewhere and I'm going to try to do it better than the person next to me, no matter who it is.
You're like Tommy before Tommy these days, man.
oh man, really though. I look back even today. I seen an update about him. They're comparing his stats to Babe Ruth, but I look back and like, man, I really had the pitching and the defensive, abilities to do both at a very extremely high level. And I was also a leadoff batter, so
which is rare.
Yeah,
which is rare. Rudy, I want to talk about this. We have a break coming up about 2 minutes because in the next segment, I want to talk about after you made the move here, your college experience, but how some hardship and some grief allowed you to even galvanize and inform who you are even more today. Because grief is an amazing thing in that, and I say amazing in a way, it's amazingly powerful.
Sure.
And it can make a person go one or two ways. So when you moved here, before we go to our break, because we got about a minute and a half before we go to that, so you moved here in 2013.
Yeah.
Okay, and go to school. And you decided to why did you decide on Concordia?
No, I went to York.
I'm sorry, York. Why did you decide on York? That's what I meant.
Concordia was an option, though. Concordia or Irvine was one of my options. I decided to go to York because a few different reasons. At the time, I was in a relationship, and it seemed like one of the safer schools to stay out of trouble.
A woman. It always gets it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Two, I went and, I didn't realize it at the time, but walking through the campus and meeting the coaches, I just had, kind of like God hovering around me saying, this is where I want you to be. It was more of an intuition feeling, but I went and the coaches they both were from California, very supportive. You could just tell like they wanted me the most. And so that just stuck. And, I know how it is when I'm passionate about wanting to do something for somebody, if they have to make a decision between me or the next person, you get to show how much you appreciate someone. And I got full appreciation from them. So that was why.
Rudy, I can't wait till we come back from break. And folks, you don't want to miss this next part because we're really going to dive into, we're talking about the attitude of things. It's easy to be surfacey. Folks that listen to me and Raph in the mornings know we laugh a lot, but when it comes to the deep things, we like to really dig back and pull back the onions. And that's exactly what we're going to do is pull back some of these onions we get back with Rudy and talk more about that experience at York College, but also the grief he went through, some tragedies he went through, and how it shaped him to be a business owner, and how he started his business and when he started of all times, and how that background as an athlete and grief helped form who he is today. Folks, we'll be right back with my guest, Rudy Perez, CEO of 2 companies, which we'll come back and talk about on the AOE Attitude of Everything podcast. We got Rudy holding it down there in Omaha, Nebraska, and Papio. We got Harrison at the mothership at 90.7 The Ticket, and I'm clear in Auburn Tiger Country, folks. So we'll be right back in a few minutes. Stick with us.
It's a new era for Nebraska football with a new head coach. Gear up for the season with 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of Big Ten Media Days. Live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis on July 26th and 27th. Jay Foreman, Amon Green, Vershawn Jackson, Terrell Farley, Derek Pearson, Steve Siffel, and Jake Sorensen will be in Indy for our shows on Wednesday and Thursday. Coverage of Big Ten Media Days is brought to you by Ben Bleicher, a professional realty group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate, Gary Michaels Clothiers, Warhorse Gaming, A1 Automotive, and the 1890 Initiative.
Too many people believe that chronic pain, allergies, or illness are permanent and something you're stuck with. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness has been proving that narrative wrong for 29 years and changing lives for the better in the process. Their team is trained in the newest, most advanced pain-relieving techniques and ways to deal with toxins, allergies, pollution, and emotion that make you ill. Call today for a free consultation at 531-254-5695 or go to novotnynutritionandwellness.com. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness, located at 7th and Superior. At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
It's Christmas in July at Pillar Restaurant Group when you purchase a $100 gift card and receive a $15 bonus card. One gift card for all of our locations, including Venue Restaurant and Lounge, Piedmont Bistro, the Butchery and Venue at Home, and all Lincoln Good Sense subs. Our Christmas in July gift card special is available at all Pillar Restaurant Group locations or online at prgnebraska.com. That's prgnebraska.com to get a $15 bonus card when you purchase a $100 gift card.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey. and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Junior Achievement of Lincoln inspires and prepares young people for success. Learn more about the people involved in the organization and the success stories over the years each Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. for the Junior Achievement Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Husker fans, this is Matt Davison with the 1890 Initiative. You've probably heard about NIL, name, image, and likeness, and now you can have an immediate impact on the success of our programs. The 1890 Initiative is Nebraska's premier NIL company, and with your help, we can maximize our student athletes' opportunities with NIL and prepare them for life after college. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics. Let's do the same with NIL. To learn more, visit 1890nebraska.com, where 100% of your donation goes directly to Husker student athletes. That's 1890nebraska.com.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Back to the AOE with AD on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Aaron Davis.
That beat goes nuts, doesn't it, RP?
Yeah, it doesn't want to stop nodding.
Harrison be like, they're like DMC from Run DMC, man. Just.
Yeah, we got it back here in the studio.
That's a good one.
Rudy, you moved to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
You go to York College, which is you come from the ocean and the mountains of California to the plains and cornfields of Nebraska. How culture shocked were you when you first got to York?
Oh man, it was completely different. I you go and visit a new place, and it's really kind of hard to tell what's around. Even when you're there to like understand the neighborhoods or the logistics of where everything's placed. I saw the campus, and it was nice. It was a small little school, so I knew that much coming in. But a town of like 7,000 people was crazy. Oh, man. I can't really tell you the depths of it, but it was a complete 180.
Well, you think about a town of 7,000. That a town of 7,000 was like the amount of people leaving your neighborhood in just one area in the morning commuting.
Yeah. My high school had 2,500. So, I mean.
Oh, wow.
I was like, man, yeah, it was. Yeah. And being that it's York College, the biggest culture shock was that it's a Christian school. And so they have really tight rules there. And that's the part that, I wasn't really aware of coming in, and that was hard. And not just for me, but a lot of the students there from all sports.
Absolutely.
It kind of brought us together in a way, to be honest.
I'm sure. Tell me about your baseball career there at York. What stands out the most? Tell me a few highlights. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna ask all of them. Tell me a highlight and tell me a low point of your collegiate career there at York.
Yeah.
Start with the low point first. We're gonna end on. In that part of the high point. Start with one that just like, man, as you look back now at 30 years old, that you look back and be like, that sucked.
Yeah. I'd say for me, when it comes to games, that my first year, there's a slump that I went through that was just not the greatest experience, and I completely made it harder on myself throughout that experience. And a lot of it is mindset, the way you think, the way you carry yourself, the way you take every rep at practice, the way you approach a game. That was probably one of the biggest low points.
Tell me the high point. What was one of those things that stood out to you like, okay, this is cool. This is one of those things that you'll never forget. What was one of those moments?
It was actually the last game I've ever pitched. So we're coming in. We needed to win this game to tie for first for conference. Coming into playoffs, and they threw me into pitch. And back when we would do it, we play a weekend. We do a 9-inning game followed by a 7-inning game on Friday, 9-inning game followed by a 7-inning game on Saturday. I pitched game number 4. And like I said, this was to win conference or tie for first. And so in a 7-inning game, you have 21 outs. Well, I had 18 strikeouts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I had one of the RBIs. And actually, I scored the second run. We won 2-1 that game.
Yeah, you were Ohtani before Ohtani was Ohtani.
Yeah. I say that one. It was that one, or there was a game I played. I went 5 for 5. I was a triple short of a cycle, which is a home run, double, triple, single in a game. I had came up my last at bat. I had 2 home runs, a double, and a single. So I was going for that triple. Ended up putting it over the fence again. So I ended up with 3 home runs that game. And those were 2 that I definitely remember.
Talking about bright spots, that's definitely a bright spot, brother.
Yeah, for sure.
So Rudy, okay, so now we go post college. Okay, you're done with school, and you hit the workforce. And tragedy strikes. Tell us about. You said there's 5 siblings, 4 you still alive, still with us right now. For as much as you feel comfortable sharing, tell us about, because this happened during COVID, but share about the passing of your brother and how that galvanized. But just give us the background on that, if you would.
Yeah. So I'll start with the business. Coming out of college was probably the greatest turning point of my life. Because I came out, and I'll go back to talking about a girl real quick, but I was coming out in a 9-year relationship. She was in California. I ended up staying out here to start my life over, which leads back to the biggest turning point of my life. But not only that, it was one of those positions you brought up earlier where you can go one way for good or you can spiral out the other way. And I consciously thought that to myself, and I said, no, you're not gonna spiral. You get one chance, and this is the opportunity. Don't let it pass. You're not going to get a lot of it. And so I spent from that point in 2016 when I graduated, that's when I got into this whole self-development journey. I just immersed in it, and I've been immersed in it ever since. But let me catch you back up. I went 5 years as a server after college, which was great for me because I was already practicing the mindset stuff. I was getting certified to become a life coach. But being that I was a server, I was dealing with a lot of people. And so my people skills, I got to practice on a daily. When you have a conscious intention to do something every day, it's like, practicing a sport. You know what you're there to practice. And fast forward a bit, we get into 2019. And I was just at a position where I was like, man, like I've learned so much about people who have started from worse places than me. And are living on top of mountains now, overlooking the ocean and a house. And just like, man, how do they do that? Like, what is it? What's the secret? And for me at the time, the answer I got back was start your own business, be an entrepreneur, be your own boss. I don't do well with, being controlled and told what to do so much. And so I thought, hey, this is my chance. I've studied, I talked myself up so much. Let me go for it. And at the time, I was really big into attracting things into your life, focus on specific things that you want. And I was in the process of starting up a cleaning company, and I was working with a mentor at the time, and he kicked me the idea of, hey, well, out here in Texas, we're doing this new type of service. It's a sanitizing and disinfecting service. So he shot me the idea and was like, hey, take it out to Nebraska if you want to. I did research for days. I could not find anything about this service. And it just so happened that I started this service 3 months before COVID came out.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it got me going a little bit, and not only that, but I was real big about innovating in business, package deals and stacking different services together to make a higher ticket for yourself. And so I was able to go out and offer that service that no one else was offering at the time. And it ended up being great. I mean, you can only imagine with COVID coming. But then, you start to get momentum and things are going good in your life. And you know how things go. It's like, all right, you're going to be tested at some point, And at this point, I've also been 6 or 7 years into the self-development world. And applying different principles and different techniques that I've learned to gain consciousness, be aware of what's going on. And the biggest tragedy of my life happened about, 6 months into me starting up my business. And that's when my brother got into a car accident and ended up losing his life. That was
Rudy,
tough.
Brother, you start a business. It just blows me away that we hit a pandemic. Okay, that's why I'm choosing my words here carefully. And I'm looking outside right now. You start your business during a pandemic, not knowing that was going to hit. It just happens to be one that will be a need that we would need forever. So you have this extreme high, like you have in sports. You have 18 of those strikeouts with a 21 plus an RBI. You were in the server industry for 5 years. You're learning people skills, your self-development, personal development. All these things going great. You're taking the attitude you took from the diamond and bring it into as a server, being willing to learn and to adjust. One of our texters just said that in right now. Hey, Ron, what's happening, homeboy? He just mentioned right there. He goes, "Thank you for mentioning adjusting their scheme on the fly." What you've done that you understand you have to adjust at times.
Yeah.
But then you get hit with the ultimate punch in the stomach. And I want to talk more about that here. So I know we got to go to break. We're going to go to break, and we're going to talk more about that when we come back. How did Rudy deal with the start of a new company and one of the most painful loss you can lose in a sibling? Folks, you want to stick around as we talk to Rudy, CEO of Just Vantage, also Clean. I'm going to get it correct, Rudy, the cleaning company. I want to get it correct.
Sanitize 360.
Sanitize 360. CEO of Sanitize 360 Advantage. We got Harrison at the mothership. We got Rudy in Nebraska. You got AD of the AOE here in Auburn, Tiger Country. Folks, we'll be right back. Stick with us.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
It's a new era for Nebraska football with a new head coach. Gear up for the season with 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of Big Ten Media Days. Live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis on July 26th and 27th. Jay Foreman, Amon Green, Vershawn Jackson, Terrell Farley, Derek Pearson, Steve Sipple, and Jake Sorensen will be in Indy for our shows on Wednesday and Thursday. Coverage of Big Ten Media Days is brought to you by Ben Bleicher of Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate, Gary Michaels Clothiers, Warhorse Gaming, A1 Automotive, and the 1890 Initiative.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and Koppel's big summer sales event is kicking off into high gear with lots of fantastic offers still going on. We got 0.9% interest rates and trade-in bonuses on select new models. I know it all sounds too good to be true, but yes, 0.9% interest rates right now at Koppel. Also, we're ramping up our back-to-school vehicles, and our pre-owned inventory is filling fast. We've got great new pre-owned and GM-certified units ready to roll, so stop on by the dealership or online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association.
in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Hey, you got any gum?
Yeah, check my backpack.
What's this?
Oh, that's naloxone. It can reverse an opioid overdose. I decided to always keep it on me after my friend almost died. It saved his life.
I'm so sorry. That makes me want to have it with me too.
You totally should. Check the pharmacy. It was actually really easy to get and it's easy to use.
I definitely will. Thanks.
Paid for by the CDC, sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings. Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Back to the AOE with AT on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Aaron Davis.
Folks, we are back for another segment with our guest, Rudy Perez. Rudy, I want to hop right into it right away.
Yeah.
Your brother was in a tragic accident. You had just started your company. It was during COVID. So I know the story, but I want you to share how much it was the tragedy itself. But you weren't even able to go in and see your brother when he was fighting for his life. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, the whole story was just awful from start to finish. My brother was reckless at times, and he's been in plenty of accidents that he's just pulled through and muscled through. Like, man, how do you get out of that? But he gets in this accident initially, and it was very bad. Like, you would think that someone died in the condition of the car. So we rushed out to California. It was out in California at the time, on top of everything. I had to just up and leave my business at the time. But yeah, I get down there. He's battling in the ICU. He's on a ventilator. I think he only breathed 10% on his own. Just really banged up. And we were out there for about a week and a half, and his momentum just started. He started doing a lot better. He'd wake up and be conscious at times, but because he was in so much pain and everything, they kept him sedated. But he got back to where he was 40% of his breathing was from a ventilator, and so everything was looking bright. So I actually flew back here to Nebraska to get back to the business. I had a lot going on. So I get back, and I think it's not the next day, but day 2 of me being back, I get a call from my mother, and she's like, yeah, he overnight he swelled up 3 times his body size. They're saying that he's got some type of infection like MRSA or something, and so start freaking out about it. Stuck out here, and I just hold steady. I'm just trusting in my family members that they're going to do what's best. I can only do so much from where I'm at. So they decide to rush him down to UC Davis in Sacramento, one of the big hospitals out in the state. And they have this special machine that they hook him up. I think it's I forgot what kind of machine it was, but it was just to get his breathing and get everything controlled. Well, because his body was swollen, they went down to go check, check all what's going on, the swelling, his organs, to make sure they were fine. And they accidentally knock out the breathing tube, and it causes an instant heart attack. And at that moment is when he passed. And so it was a very, very difficult situation.
Rudy, the thing about grief, it can do a lot of things to a person. It can, and me and you both, unfortunately, being part of a group of millions of others that have lost siblings, parents, etc. Both of us lose our siblings. How did you use that grief? Because, like we talked about earlier, and I still don't always handle grief well. Both of my parents, my brother being the first in 2009. How did you use your grief, and what you can share with your the people that are listening? What are some positive ways they can use grief? Because me and you, we at least for myself, I got the negative ones. I got that down to a T. I know how to do it negatively.
Yeah, right.
And I can write a book on how you don't deal with grief. What are some ways? What are some things that you did to honor your brother's life? So how did you use your grief to forge who you are today?
Yeah, for sure. So this is actually the part of the conversation that gets me really excited, because I'm a firm believer in God. For one, I have full faith and conviction that everything that happens is for a reason. And so I took that and I applied that type of mindset into the situation. And I believe that the more adversity one faces, like the bigger the tragedy, the bigger the reward on the other side. There's some blessing in there. And it may be super difficult to find, but it's in there, and I took that approach from day one, that I just believe that he didn't leave this earth for no reason. And that's actually what led me into this point of starting Vantage, because at that moment I knew that if there was one last thing he would say to me, it's just go impact others' lives. Like it's an intuition. It's like if God, was speaking through me, in my brother's voice, he'd say, hey, take everything you learned and go help everybody you can. Be the most unselfish person you could be and focus on others. And, and so now going forward, I know that I have a guardian angel, and so when I make decisions or when I'm scared or feeling fearful, I know that he's there to have my back. But the biggest takeaway that I'd say from all this is that anybody listening, you don't need to lose a sibling. You don't need to lose anybody close in your life to take that same approach, the same mindset. You don't need to go through that loss. It's already there within you. And so what I want to do for others is just help people to awaken that part of them.
Mm-hmm. Rudy, what you just said was so powerful in so many ways, in that we don't have to lose a sibling, a parent, a loved one, to take that step to say, you know what, I want to live bigger than what I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to utilize and exercise every tool and gift and talent that I've been blessed with and given. So I want to say that to the folks that are listening too. Rudy is the epitome of that at 30 years old. I mean, this dude you just have such a fire for life, a passion. And you're not one of those ones who sit on the sidelines. Let's say someone's struggling to get off the sidelines, whether it's a loss of a loved one, maybe it's a loss of a job, or maybe Rudy, they're just in the dugout of life. They want to get into the game. What would be the first bit of advice you would give them? They're tired of being a spectator.
Yeah, for sure. So one, everybody learns a little differently. Some people need, that tough love. Some people need more of the empathy. And so, depending on the person, I take that approach. But what I would say, is what I found to be the truth for myself time after time is that you are the creator of your life. Whatever you choose to believe about a situation is truly your choice. If someone comes and attacks you and says something mean about you, you can let that affect you, or you can brush it off and say, hey, maybe that person's hurting and maybe they're taking it on me, but let me take that pain away from them and I'll release it a different way, that works better for the situation. And so understanding that you can basically change your perspective on any situation and all you have to do, is go within and just, it's hard, but you just tell yourself like, hey, there's no real reason why I need to be thinking badly right now in this situation.
Rudy, you said so much, man, that there's so much to chew on, for the people that are listening there, and there's so much life wisdom. We talked about your ups, your downs, transitioning from, high schools and how that was a mindset shift. That was an attitude shift. We talk about then you going to a different high school, and then the shift you had to make from academics, saying, you know what, I can retaliate with grades, but it's probably not going to get me very far. And how you went through loss. You went to, change landscapes from California to York, graduate, service industry, start a business, COVID, and the ultimate was your brother. But how you honored his life by touching other people's lives. On the show again. If someone wants to find more about you, where do they go? Socials.
Most of my social medias will be Rudy Daniel. If you want to reach out to me personally, I have a website up. That would be thevantagemindset.com.
Thevantagemindset.com.
Vantage Mindset. And the Vantage, the brand that I created, what that means is I want to teach people how to take advantage of the opportunities life presents. And a lot of the times opportunities are there, but it's our job to create them. We have to go out and search for them. That's just imagination and creativity.
Folks, you want to check out Rudy, again, go to the justvantagemindset.com. Also on social media, you can find him on Instagram at Rudy Daniel. He's got some great stuff out there, folks. Folks, Rudy, I can't, the time went by so fast. As I told you I would. It went by so fast. Wait to have you back in. Folks, this will be available on podcasts as well on 93.7 The Ticket, so definitely check it out. The AOE with Aaron Davis. Rudy, I love you, little bro. I appreciate you. Folks, thanks for tuning in for this tonight. Rudy, brother, keep changing lives, my man. Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, man, you're a great inspiration to me. Thank you so much for everything, and I love you too.
Love you too, brother. So it's another Wednesday night that went by so fast, and we're gonna keep doing this again next Wednesday. I'm still undecided because I might be doing it from the road. Because guess what? I'll be in Alabama again next week, so it'll either be live or something recorded. We'll have some good stuff. But we'll have Rudy back on again for sure in the future, folks. Hey, it's Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week. This is the AOE, Attitude Over Everything with AD Aaron Davis. My great guest, Rudy Perez. Folks, make it a great night.
Business owners, property owners. The success of your business requires doing business with the right people.